I don't know how well you're going to be able to see the inner workings of the application there. So let's get our memory card in, the micro SD. I've got a little cable that I use for power. Let me show you that. So you see ground, 12 volt key. There's 4 pins. You only need the 2. You need the ground and the 12 volt. So just make sure you line that up on the 2. And I'm using the power supply that I built. Depending on how these videos come out, I'll either have it linked or you'll be able to just go find it. Okay, let me get cord ready. So we're gonna power it up and then connect it to the computer. I'm gonna turn my power on. Now if we don't plug the power supply up, we're gonna turn the 12 volt and look for the lights, 12 volt on. So we got 12 volt power light. So we're getting power. Nothing is on the screen. There's no software for it to do anything. All right, let's get this plugged in. Before we do that, we're gonna power off the display, unplug. I forgot to put it in DFU mode. So to put it in DFU mode, you need to basically hold the DFU button. This one says DFU, this one says reset, this one says button 2, this one says button 1. So the furthest button, there you'll see DFU and reset kinda. So hold DFU, press reset, release DFU, then plug it up. Yep, did you hear it? Doo-doo. All right, so the computer has registered it as a device now. Now we're gonna go to device. Let me see if that works a little bit better. So I'm gonna go up here to the menu, hit device, DFU upload. And now I got to go to where I have, let me just go download the latest firmware so I know exactly where I'm pulling it from. Let's go to downloads. This is what we want. I just basically went to the GitHub and downloaded the latest firmware version for the Evo 128 by 32, and I'm pulling the DFU file. So the DFU. It's yeah, there we go. Doing its thing here. It's formatting the micro SD card. Now it's writing to it. Takes a bit. All right, it says download done. Done parsing DFU SE file. Please close the window. So we've closed the window. So I'm just going to save that config, and then we're going to power cycle. So turn it off, turn it back on. Pin2DMD. Now from here in this control panel, you can kind of play around with some stuff. Say I want it all blue. If I want it all white. So if you don't have a color file, you can come in here and just say, hey, I want it to be violet, and kind of go through and can pick some different color palettes. Orange. We're gonna leave it at VGA. And what you can also do is change the brightness. So that's fully bright. And that's fully dim. I never find myself having to run it full bright. We've got our key files from the Pin2DMD.com activation section. You'll be able to get to that through the Pin2DMD website. There's buttons on the back, DMFU, reset, button 2, button 1. So if you hold reset, hold button 2, let go of reset, it enters the config menu. Then you can button 1 to change all of these settings. We're going to go look at the UID number. So button 1 goes through, button 2 will select, not activated section. So what we're going to do, hit reset again, let it load back up. Now I've written on the boxes, that way I know which key I'm doing, but there's a little bit of a delay. So it's not a delay, it's I didn't write down enough numbers. So let's try this again. So we've got the right 27003F, but I didn't add the rest of it. 00. My writing's not the best. Okay, we'll reset that again. So we're going to come away from the screen here so you can see. Like I said, I don't have a capture card. So we're going to come up to Device, Activate. I've got these in a folder on my desktop. Key files. Alright, so we're looking for that E27003F 003F. Open that. I'm just going to go double check. E27003F. That's the right one. Okay. That's not great, is it? Okay, let's try a different one. We'll come back to this one. Okay, we've got a different one loaded up here. This is 2637. Everything's failing. Why is everything failing? It's failing because I'm not hearing it connect. Yeah, we're not connected. Okay. Alright, that makes me feel better. So we're not actually data linking. Look at this. We're not data linking. And I ain't plugged it in. Jeez Louise. Talking about scared there for a sec. There's the sound we should have been hearing. Alright, now let's try this. Device. Activate. This is the 2603 7. Device activated. You're going to see the same thing here. But if we was to go over, and I go in here now it goes straight to the number because we're an activated device now. So now what we're going to do, we're going to load. We got some color files. The color files are going to be basically, you can go on VP Universe. There's like 2 or 3 websites that you can go onto. You'll have to get with the authors for the machines that you want for a real pin. If you're doing a virtual pinball, most all the color files are free. But if you're doing a real pin, you need to get with the author so that they can create a color file that is tied to your UID. I have some for NBA Fast Break. We've got 3 NBA Fast Break machines. I've got 1, my buddy's got 2. He can link. So what we're going to do is load these all up. Now we know where they're at. Come back here, device, upload file. We're going to go to where we have our color files. And in here is, again, it's tied to that UID. So this is the 2600-37. And we're looking, we need to change the name of this. Pin2DMD. These. Rename Pin2DMD.FSQ. You aren't changing the .FSQ part, you're just changing the name because you need a FSQ file and a PAL file for it to pull real pin information data. Let's turn that off. We're just going to eject the micro SD card. We'll put it in our adapter. So there's our key file on there. 3700. Pull those over. Close that. I like to eject that. We're just going to put it back into the display. Give the display power. So it's loaded and read that. It kind of got a little blank there. I think I'm going to change this though. So if it's in virtual pinball, it'll auto pick up if a real pin signals are getting sent to it. I'm going to actually change that to Bally Williams here, I guess it is. Let me see. Oh, come on. There's a lot of them. Yeah, so it's Bally Williams. I'm going to change the brightness some. I mean, you can see how much further we could go. I'm not sure what the enhancer does. Then we need to save the config. And so now it'll load back up with asking for that Bally Williams signal. So, not the cleanest install for the color files, but you get the point. You get your idea. Maybe I film another one. We'll bring that first one back up and make sure it's just going to work. Let me get it set up. Alright, so this is that first one. See if we can't get a little bit cleaner. Cleaner view here. So we're going to device, activate. And we got to go back to our keys. And this says 2700 3F. This one. What the crap? Oh, I did the 2700 37. Again, did the wrong one. This is a terrible how-to video. But, hey, you know, if you try to activate it with the wrong key, it ain't gonna work. Device activated now. Success. Alright, so I've got the external power, so the benchtop power supply power. It is at this point that my AliExpress microphone battery has died. It's not the greatest microphone anyway, and I'm actively searching for a replacement so that my audio will be better. So what you're seeing here is I'm going through and actually putting it on the Bally Williams display. You'll remember that this is the one that we couldn't get to load the first time because I didn't have the cord plugged in. So what I'm doing here is because I set the other one up using the computer, I didn't set this one up using the computer. So I'm just going through those menu settings and setting it up the way I want it to be, not using the virtual pinball machine and just having it go straight to Bally Williams. So here we're still using that external power supply just for ease of use for the demonstration purposes. You'll see the load up here for the NBA Fast Break game. I do want to show a couple of things here. It looks great. I've got it fully installed now. I got a video of that coming shortly. Beautiful, beautiful design there, right? Really pops. I was trying to make the camera do some focusing here, but it did not. That was not the right thing to do. So what we're coming up with is a zone where the person that colorized these files actually has that in there. You'll see that now. I'm not the biggest fan of that, paying 35 euros for this, but hey, you put the work in, I'm for it. I'm all for it, right? So what we're going to go into now is some issues that I do have. You notice this colorization is not quite there. I've slowed it down just to kind of keep it on the screen a little bit longer. It is pretty quick. It's 2 or 3 passes with a little guy dribbling the ball, comes back and forth. So you remember, I have 3 machines that I'm doing these color files for NBA Fast Break. All 3 machines with various brands of micro SD cards. They all have this same exact issue with the colors in the same spots on every machine in all 3 different. Now I've got 5 displays overall that I had to build up, and I've used all 5 with the 3 different of course, I can't use this color file on all 5 because it's screen specific, but I did use color files that I could get from other types of machines that were free to put into those machines just to make sure it wasn't a driver board issue. So I do plan to reach out to the author just to see if he sees that on his side. I
don't really know what else to do outside of that, because there's nothing that I can do with those color files because they are keyed to the UID number of this device. But without that being said, the color really does bring this thing and make it pop. I have another key moment here to show you Colorized by President. You can find him on VP Universe. And now we're just kind of, I'm sure I'm saying something here in the video, and I wasn't just sitting out, hanging out, just watching this guy run back and forth. We're seeing this issue again. It's very consistent. You notice the green dot has kind of moved. There is some randomness to it, but it's right there. Bam. It switches back and everything's fine. In the game, I haven't really seen anything. I've left this here just so you can see how the scrolling is. How you're seeing that is how it looks in real life. It's not quite as smooth as you might would like it to be, but 1/16 scan, that's just kind of how you're going to get some of these LED movements. So a couple more. I really like to get that one. That one just really pops. So this here is just kind of ending up. If you have questions, if you have comments, please just share them. Here at Behind the Coil, I'm really trying to make something that's more of a realistic type of environment. So with that, we'll see you next time with whatever we find that we can bring to the bench and do some work.